here, and I'm very happy to see you here, seeing the improvement in the academy year after year, especially that I am one of the co-founder of this great initiative. Today I would like to talk about the advantage and disadvantage of the Lebanese immigration on the social level, economic level, and political level. We will start with the economic level. For the time being, a big dilemma is under question. And the answer is not clear yet. Does the Lebanese immigration has a positive or a negative impact on the Lebanese economy? Some researchers, activists believe that the Lebanese immigration has a lot of disadvantages. Others, they believe it has a lot of advantages. Some scientists, they say that the first income of foreign currency coming to Lebanon is coming from remittances. What is remittances? Remittances is the money that the immigrants send to Lebanon for the relatives, to put in bank accounts, to help cousins, to study. It's all kind of money sent from the diaspora to Lebanon. And they say also that the second income of Lebanon from foreign currency, it's coming from tourism. And especially the time being, most of tourists are immigrants. And they say as well that the third, number 3 income of Lebanon coming from foreign reserve is coming from telecommunication and transportation and Middle East airline. And these two public institutions are mainly consumed by immigrants. So they believe that immigrants are playing a big role in terms of sending foreign currency to Lebanon. Some other people, they say, no, we have a lot of disadvantages because Lebanese people are selling their land to educate their children because, as you know here, unfortunately, the cost of education is very high. So once they are graduated, they don't find a job, they migrate. So in a country where we don't have, we don't have enough job creation, we are losing our working force. And our country is becoming a country for old people only, where the youth are living. And any society, any economy without a working force cannot live for a long time. So actually, it's a big dilemma. We don't know where do we stand. My own opinion is that what I'm really sure about is that we are not taking advantage from our huge diaspora scattered all around the world. Let's talk about remittances, for example. The money sent from immigration to Lebanon. Where are this money being directed? They are sent first to Lebanese banks as bank deposits. What are the Lebanese banks doing with this money? We all think about this issue. Lebanese banks are mainly buying bonds from the government. I mean that the Lebanese banks are indebting the government with money. What are the local Lebanese, or what are Lebanese immigration taking advantage from this vehicle? They are not. And if the government is doing some spending money with these bonds, I mean the money indebted from the banks, it's being mainly spent in the cities, in the main cities, and not in rural area where immigration are coming from. So immigration are sending money to Lebanese banks. Lebanese banks are giving this money to the government, and unfortunately, the Lebanese immigration is not taking advantage enough from these remittances. Noting that the central bank, our central bank, is doing a lot of serious trial to take advantage from these remittances in the right way. They are providing a lot of incentives, the central bank, to Lebanese banks to try to encourage Lebanese people to invest in the real economy with this money. Subsidizing the interests, giving some grace period for the loans to try to encourage people to invest in rural areas. The second part of remittances, it's going to help the relatives to educate and to pay some basic needs. So part of this remittances is going to education. As you know, I'm sure that many of you are helping your cousins, your relatives to pay their university fees, school fees, to have higher education. The problem with this vehicle is that when you have higher education and we don't have, on the other side, job creation, what does it mean? It means that these new highly skilled people will migrate. For example, one of your relatives living in Akkar or in Zahle or in the south, if he has no degree, he will accept to work in agriculture, for example. But once he is a doctor, a lawyer, or has any degree, he or she needs a decent work, okay, in their field. They will not find, they will go in the city in the first stage, and then they will migrate. So education as well, without job creation, it means that the Lebanese economy, the Lebanese people, is not taking advantage from this money sent from immigration. The third main target of remittances is going to land. I'm sure your parents, I'm sure most of your parents, they already bought a land in Lebanon. I'm sure most of you. In their village, in the city, they bought a land. But the problem here also is that this land is not being used in a healthy way. It's being kept as is without any investment on it to try to move the wheel of the economy and create new jobs. And as you know, when we all buy land without doing investment in it, what will happen? What will happen? There will be big speculation, prices will be higher and higher, and local Lebanese will not be able to buy an apartment anymore and create a family and bring children. They will prefer to migrate. Or if they have a small land, they will sell it since the prices are very high. They will sell it and they will go to Canada, for example. They will buy a taxi car plate, buy a house and work on it and establish a family. So what I can tell you is that for the time being, the Lebanese immigration is not on the economic level, is not providing the positive impact we need to do. What we need to do is the governmental policy encouraging immigrants through incentives to invest in the real economy, to create jobs and to move the economic wheel. On the social level, actually, we are now facing a problem is that we don't have enough men for marriage. So every man it's a big problem because, as you know, the men migrate much more than the women. Noting that in the last 10, 15 years, women also are migrating to Dubai, to Qatar, to many Arab countries, to Canada, because they want to establish their career as well. But mainly, most of the time, 70% of the immigration is from men. So every man has in Lebanon many girls to choose to get marriage. And this is providing a big battles between girls. On the political level, I will start first with the positive impact the immigration and yourself you can play. I'll tell you something. For the time being, we have a big clash between religions. You know, for the time being, I will say it honestly, there is a big conspiracy against Islam, showing them as terrorists, as a threat for the world stability, and there is a conspiracy as well for the confessions between Muslims, between Shia and Sunni. And we as Lebanese, as living with Muslims, side by side, since hundreds of years, we have a major role to talk about the real image of Muslim in diaspora, because Lebanese Christian and Lebanese Muslims living in Lebanon are different from all the Christians and from all the Muslims all over the world. Muslims in Lebanon, they put the Christmas tree in their house before we do, because part of our culture and our heritage as Christian is coming from Muslim people. And part of the culture and heritage of Muslim people is coming from the Christian people. So I believe that Christian and Muslim, Lebanese Christian and Muslim people, they have a big role to say that we can live together peacefully, in harmony, because this experience in Lebanon, it was somehow successful. Because if this Lebanese sample does not succeed, it means that we are going to face a huge war that would destroy the world stability. I actually believe that what's happening for the time being is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. And we have a duty and we have an interest as well to defend our Lebanese sample where Christian and Muslim can live together, because this is Lebanon. And this is the only place where we live together since this country was established. Lebanon is the only worldwide laboratory for the multi-confessions people living together. And we have interest and we have a duty to show that this scientific laboratory is a project that can live for our internal security and for security and stability worldwide. And thank you. Yes, of course. Yes. Could you please tell me? I specially made my intervention brief so that we can have enough time to interact with each other. So could you please tell me your name and which country you are coming from, and what do you do in life? You're still a student, but what are you studying? If you're still
my name is Timothy, and I'm from Canada.
Sorry?
Timothy from Canada. And I finished already my studies. I'm a teacher, teaching students in school, and now I'm taking philosophical studies. My question is, if people have lands from the diaspora, lands in Lebanon, what do you suggest for them to do with that to help the economy here in Lebanon, to help the people here?
It depends where the land is located. It depends where the land is located. If the land is located in a rural area, it can be used for agriculture. If the land is based in a city area, it can be used for commercial purposes. If it's in an industrial area, it can be invested in industry. And here let me tell you that the agro industry is witnessing a huge boom, the agro industry, because as you know, since after the Syria war, most of the agro industry manufacturers were shut down, and now there is a very high demand on all agro industry products from Lebanon. We are witnessing a big boom. We are witnessing a boom also in pharmaceutical manufacturers. We had last year 3 new big manufacturers. In Lebanon, we have the know-how, we have the capacities, we have the highly education youth we need. For the time being, we are only producing around 15 to 17% of our pharmaceutical needs. So I think that there is a big potential in agro industry and in pharmaceutical sector. Okay.
Hi. We were recently informed that about 8,000 Lebanese people are responsible for about 50% of the GDP in Lebanon. They're earning 50% of total. They have 50% of the wealth. Okay. Do you think it would be possible to convince them to help in job creation at all? And if so, how would we go about that?
Could you please tell me your name?
Oh, I'm Maria.
From which country you are coming from?
I came from the UK, from London.
Welcome. Actually, that's a very important question. I totally agree or believe that it's very unfair that I don't want to talk about numbers, because in Lebanon, unfortunately, we don't have enough statistics. It's not based on scientific numbers, so I will not go into numbers. But what I can tell you is that you are right. In Lebanon, the ratio of rich people getting the outcome of the economy is it's not healthy in regards of the total number of Lebanese population. I mean, you are right that a small amount of people are taking advantage of the potential of big part of Lebanese people. And this is not fair, and this is not healthy. The main reasons behind that is our social security system, our tax system, our whole financial infrastructure scheme, which is in favor of these people. The second main reason is corruption. Unfortunately, Lebanon, we find a lot of corruption, especially in these 4 or 5 last year. We are facing a lot of corruption. We are behind 37 degrees in terms of our classification on the worldwide level. So we have to get a fair social security system and financial scheme in favor of all the Lebanese people, not in favor of some people or some small group in the economy. And you have to face the corruption. And I believe that fixing the corruption will come first through the representative of the Lebanese people who are the deputies, yani in another term, the parliamentary elections. And that's why I always focus on how important it is that the Lebanese immigration participate in the next parliamentary elections. Because the Lebanese immigration are not taken by their hands in any way. They are totally free. You know, they don't need any favor from any politician. They don't need asphalt in front of their house. They don't need any favor from anyone, so they can vote as per their beliefs in a very clean and a very straight way. So, and I believe that the Lebanese immigration can participate in the parliamentary election through electronic voting. Through electronic voting. Because for the time being, as you know, Lebanese diaspora is spreading in all the cities, in all the rural areas. For example, in Australia, we have an embassy in the city, in Canberra. We have a general consulate in Sydney, and we have a general consulate in Melbourne. But Lebanese diaspora in Australia is spread all over Australia. Yani people living where we have embassies in Canberra, in Sydney, in Melbourne, they are not more than 40% of total Lebanese people living in Australia. So 60% of Lebanese people in Australia are out of reach of the Lebanese embassies and consulate. The current system for the immigrants to participate in the parliamentary elections is that you have to go 2-3 months before the elections to register your name in the Lebanese embassy or the Lebanese general consulate. So if you live outside these 3 cities, you have to travel. If you live, for example, in Adelaide, you have to travel to Sydney, many hours by car or by plane, and wait the consul to give you an interview to register your name, and then go back to your home city, and then the day of the election, you have to come back another time to elect the embassy. So I don't think that a lot of Lebanese immigrant parents will do this. Will travel 2 times to register their name, then to elect. But in electronic voting, this issue is solved. This issue is solved. You get a password, and you can elect wherever you are. That's why it's very, very important for all of us to promote the concept of electronic voting for immigrants. You know, as you know, we were supposed to have parliamentary elections 2 years ago. 2 years or 3 years ago? 2-3 years ago. And you know, out of 8, 9, maybe 10 million Lebanese immigrants living abroad, you know how many people registered their name to elect? Not more than few thousands, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 maximum out of 10 million. Why? Because they will not suffer to travel from place to place to register their name and then go again to elect. But once we have the electronic voting right, I think that many, many of you will vote. And this will create a synergy, a dynamic relationship between Lebanese politicians who will look after Lebanese immigrants. They will look after their needs. They will ask what they want. They will try to go to the parliament and deliver new laws in their favor. So it's very, very important to have electronic voting for immigrants, to participate on the political level, to have a new political figures to be able to fight corruption. Sorry if my answer was too long. Okay, okay.
Joe Eze from Toronto, Canada. A lot of what we've been told and spoken to about is that Lebanon's the melting pot for the Middle East. You know, we're the example that needs to be set for Christians and Muslims to be living together. Now we have organizations like this, like the Maronite Academy. But since you're sort of in immigration, you see a lot from both sides or all sides of religions. With your knowledge and experience, what is your opinion as to how we can better assimilate each other and be the worldwide example of how all of these religions can live peacefully together?
Very important, very, very important questions. Actually, Lebanese Christian and Lebanese Muslim are co-living together since the establishment of Lebanon. You know, I can tell you that whenever we have any terrorist attack in any region in Lebanon, okay, you will see the sympathy from all Lebanese people from everywhere. For example, we had a terrorist attack in Ka, which is a Christian area in the Bekaa. You know, we had sympathy from people all over Lebanon. When we had attacks in the southern suburb of Beirut, where we have our Shia brothers living there, you know, we had sympathy as well from people all over Lebanon, from Sunnit, from Christians, from Druze. I'm sure you saw the opening ceremony of the church in Mukhtara on Sunday, which was celebrated by Walid Jumblat and by it's a Maronite church. You know, we saw people from all confessions happy together in this celebration. Actually, our role as the Lebanese immigration, Muslim and Christians, to say that this is a conspiracy, you know, because terrorism, it's not related to one religion. You know, if we go back through history, and I'm sure Perfadik Med, he knows a lot about that. You know, we had Christians terrorists, and we had all kind of religion. If you go back centuries before, and even if you go back a few years before, I will not go into real sample. But you know, we have to say that terrorism, it's not related to one religion. We have to say that we can live together in harmony.
Anastasia Najim from Canada, and I study international business. I was wondering, okay, so in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index, Lebanon is ranked very low. It's very difficult to start a business, and it's a very big issue, so having electricity, and it takes a lot of procedures to open a business. So me, as part of the Lebanese diaspora living abroad, how can I go back home and convince businesses or investors to actually invest in Lebanon when there's so many difficulties and impediments that allows companies to actually grow here and invest here?
Yes. You know, we are living without a president since 2.5 years in Lebanon. We are living in the country where fire is around us all over. So I believe and I agree with you that we have to improve a lot of our public sectors. But at the same time, I have to tell you that if you compare our situation with our neighborhood countries, you will find out that we are one of the few countries in the area where we have stability, where we have security. And I can tell you not only in the area, with Europe also. In France, you see attacks and you see problems and you see every week, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So, you know, if you compare our situation and our capabilities, you know, we have 1 million Syrian refugees. We have 600,000 Palestinian refugees. If you compare our situation with our neighborhood countries, you will find out that our situation is not bad. You know, foreign direct investment decreased from 4.5 billion US dollar in 2011 to 2.5 billion US dollar in 2015. So our decrease is around 40%. I'm not denying that you have a decrease, but at the same time, having foreign direct investment 2.5 billion US dollar, it's not bad if we see our current situation. Actually, in 2003, the Lebanese government established a new public institution called Investment Development Authority of Lebanon, IDAL, which role is to facilitate business in Lebanon and to guide investors, Lebanese immigrants, and all kinds of investors, guiding them through Lebanese administration to get all their licenses done, all kind of licenses needed. And this public institution, it's still working, but I believe that it can still do much more. I hope that once we have a president and after the parliamentary election, we will have a new political figures with a clean mind like you, and where you can play a big role to change all these problems.
Okay. Hello, I'm Miguel from Mexico. Miguel
From Mexico.
Yes, from Mexico. I please correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard about for the Cypriot community.
Cypriot community.
Yes, there's a representative member in the Chamber of the Deputies, and
Of the Chamber of
the deputies. Sorry, yes, and so I wonder how come is that possible, and why there's not for. I mean, in other countries there's a very big community, a bigger community than in Cyprus. So how come there's a representative for Cyprus and not for other countries?
Actually, could you please give him back the microphone? It's okay. No, it's okay. Could you please repeat your question because I did not get you well. You mean that?
That I heard that for the Cypriot community.
Cypriot community where?
In Cyprus.
So Lebanese community in Cyprus.
Yes, for the Lebanese community in Cyprus, there's a representative in the Chamber of the Deputies.
No.
For the
No.
Maronite.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. For the Maronite community.
I-
For the Lebanese Maronite community.
I got your question, sir.
Yeah.
You mean that is Lebanese community represented in the Cypriot parliament. That's what you mean. It's not true. It's not true. Lebanese community is not officially represented in the Cypriot parliament. No. But in Cyprus, we have some Lebanese who has a Cypriot passport. They apply as candidate for parliamentary elections, and they succeeded not as Lebanese, as having their Cypriot passport at Cypriot. As for example, we have a lot of Lebanese in the US. We have a lot of Lebanese in the US, but they are US citizens as well. They have US citizenship. So they run for elections in the US, not as Lebanese, as US citizens. And they won. And they're now US deputies. Okay? But not as Lebanese, as US deputies. So they are not representing Lebanon. They are representing the US.
No. I thought that there was a way to represent your community, our community abroad.
No. No. It's no. Thank you. From which area you are coming from, Mexico? Which area are you coming from? Which city are you coming from? Mexico City.
Hello, my name is Francis. I'm from Australia. I live in Sydney.
From Australia.
Yes,
From which city? in
from
Australia?
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yes. My question is sort of building off what I think Anna was trying to
And
ask.
Sydney, there is a place where Lebanese lives in Sydney. It's where in Sydney?
I'm from the Parramatta area.
Parramatta, yes.
Yes.
I know Parramatta very well.
Um,
I've been to Australia more than 20 times.
wow,
Yes.
that's impressive. So my
My
question.
dad used to be the Lebanese General Consul of Lebanon to Sydney. That's why I used to go. Yes, your question, please.
My question was building off Anna's question, which I think she was asking, but I didn't quite feel like it was answered. I guess for me, generally successful business people make decisions based on logical reasons rather than emotional ones. So I guess I don't understand the incentive for investment from overseas into Lebanon. Like, if the infrastructure doesn't support a business to flourish easily, the transport to and from places because the roads are busy, the electricity is unreliable, the water's not clean. Like, what incentive do I have to start a business in Lebanon rather than home where I have all those things and I'm close to the business? I mean, to travel here, as you know, is a 23-hour trip. So how do you expect overseas people who've migrated overseas to invest back in Lebanon? What incentive is there? It's much easier, at home where you live.
A very, very interesting question. Thank you. Okay, you talked about the disadvantages of investing in Lebanon, but you have as well a lot of advantages. The main challenge behind any investment is what, in your opinion? It is to finance, to provide the finance for this investment, right? In Lebanon, we have financial facilities to finance a project that, believe me, that is not available in any other country in the world. In Lebanon, if you have any investment in mind, your finance can be provided. If it's a small investment, it can be provided through kafalat, for example, through kafalat, where you can get your money up to $200,000 US. You can get your money with interest rate nearly zero, 1%, 1.5%, which is nothing, for 7 years, with a grace period for 2 years. I mean that you take the money, you do the investment, and after 2 years, you start paying back the loan. After 2 years. So after 2 years, so when your business is already running, you start paying back your loans with an interest rate which is nearly zero. And it's nearly free money. And if you have a big investment, you can take from another scheme, financial scheme, big amounts with grace period as well of 2 years and with repayment debt for 7 years. And if you have a green loan, and if you have an investment taking in consideration the green and the environmental parameters, you can get a loan with a grace period for 4 years. This is not available in any other country worldwide. It's not available. Yani, you take money, you do investment, and after 4 years, you start paying back your money. You are right, you have some disadvantages, but we are trying to counterbalancing it with big financial incentives that are not available anywhere else. And of course, if it's a big investment, you can also have tax incentives for 10 years. If you want to do a hotel, for example, the government can give you tax incentives for 10 years. I mean, for 10 years, you don't pay any tax for the government. And this also is not available in many places. So we have a lot of incentives to counterbalance the problems you have in some sectors, like electricity and infrastructure.
Hello.
Okay, so first and second. Okay? Oh, no, sorry, she has a microphone. And she was listening attentively.
Hi, I'm Gloria, and I live in Vancouver, Canada.
You live in?
Vancouver, Canada.
Nice weather in Vancouver.
Yes, it's beautiful. We've been talking a lot about overseas investors and investments and the advantages and disadvantages for that. And I'm curious more about the youth. I work in education over there, and I'm curious more about the incentives or services offered to the youth here that perhaps are recently graduated or do have business ideas that they want to implement. And I can imagine that there are so many barriers or fears or things that could exist in the same way that they would with young people in Canada, for instance, in terms of beginning their businesses. So, I've heard in prior conference sessions that it's easy. It just takes kind of like a business plan, and you can get up to $400,000 with 0% interest. So what sort of initiatives exist or could exist to support the youth here in Lebanon to contribute to the economy in fruitful ways?
Yeah. We have. Thank you for your question. We have a lot of initiative in this regard. Kafalat, for example, I was talking about. It was mainly established for the youth, because as you know, if you want to take any finance for a project, you need to have guarantee. Generally, you have to guarantee to do a mortgage, so that if you cannot pay your money, the bank will put his hand on the mortgage. With kafalat, by law, you don't have to provide a mortgage. So, and it was done mainly for the youth. So, because the central bank is providing and is accepting the risk of a failure, So, and as well, we have other group. I forgot its name now. Mubadara, I think. I will remember now the name of the groups. Mubadara, I think. Badr. Okay. Badr, for example, it was established to accept business studies from the youth and to study it. And once they approve it, they will put the young businessman, the young entrepreneur, with business angels, and these business agents, they will finance the project. And now the central bank gave the local Lebanese banks the possibility to be shareholder also in such new businesses. So you can also ask the bank not only to finance you, if you have a brilliant idea, a research based on research and development, your bank can also have the chance to be part and to be shareholder in your business. Yes, of course. In these institutions, of course, CEO or other companies in the same sector, they can also be part of these companies, of course. The last question, maybe?
Yeah, Michelle from Peru. And
Michelle, what family
from
name?
Peru. Peru. Lima, Peru.
Fag-
Peru.
Peru. And what's your family name?
Salaket. I don't know how to say it in Arab.
From Zahle?
Yes.
Oh, it's your first time to Lebanon.
Yes, it is.
And how did you find Lebanon?
Amazing. I want to stay.
You will tell your parent about the necessity to visit Lebanon?
Yeah, of course. I already did.
Oh, wow.
We're planning the trip. Yeah, so my question is, so the youth is leaving because there's no jobs, right?
Yes.
But on the other hand, it seems like an opportunity that they give them money to do their own businesses. So why are they leaving if they can like do their business? It seems easy to get the money if you have a good business plan.
Yes, yes. You know, it's not very easy to establish in a new business. You know, some people.
But if they're
not
graduated
all,
with degrees,
yes,
they should be prepared.
I will tell you, not all the youth generations, they have the business mentality to have their own business. So, okay, some people, they like to be employees. Otherwise, we will all be rich and we will all be businessmen. So some people, they have the will and they have the ambition to have their own business, and they want to do a lot of efforts to achieve it. And some people, they like to be on the safe side, to have their salary at the end of the month, to come back home at 2 o'clock afternoon and watch a movie and do gym and sleep. Not everybody wants to be a businessman.
But if there's some a percent of the youth that does want to have a business,
That's why
opens up jobs for the ones that don't want a business,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that way they can stay here.
You know, that's why not everybody is leaving the country. Not everybody. You have a lot of success stories. You have a lot of Lebanese young who did not leave Lebanon. They established their own business and they became rich, and they are here between us. So for anyone who insists to remain and to stay in Lebanon, they have the opportunity.
Just a quick question.
Especially in the food sector. Okay.
Okay, Melanie Rantous from Canada.
A lot, big presence from Canada today.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. When you're saying that 400,000, whatever that loan that they get with the low interest fee, and they don't have to pay taxes on that. Like, I see the advantage for me, but isn't that hurting the banks? What if somebody comes, their business fails, they leave back to their home country, and they never look back? What's the consequence there? Like, how do they catch these people?
Can you repeat your question exactly?
Okay, so let's say I'm from Canada.
Yes.
I come to Lebanon. I want to open a business. I take that loan, and my business fails in Lebanon. I go back to Canada, and I don't look back. I just say I don't want to pay back that loan. How do they catch these people?
No, you know, the banks, they don't provide the loan like that. They study it well. They study your potential to.
It's not just anybody that can take it, because you're saying, yes, you're saying anybody can
course, anybody can apply for it. Yes, of course. Anybody. Anyone can apply for it, but you have to get a serious business study and you have to convince the bank that you can do it. You have to convince the bank that your business is viable.
What if I do convince them and I get my loan, but my business fails?
If you fail, you fail.
Then I go back to Canada. I don't look back. I never come back to Lebanon.
Well, from
Actually, before you...
Yeah, I just say something. I think there is a procedure, like if you want like 400,000, they wouldn't give you the 400,000 until you do the first step, which is like, you know, there is a procedure for that. You don't just show up, I want to make a doll, and they give you 400,000, okay? Yes.
Actually, I invite you all to follow the Lebanese Migration Center activities. Please go to Facebook and put Lebanese Migration Center and like this page so that you can follow up all these activities. We are always putting a lot of articles about Lebanese successful stories all over the world, and you will have the chance to follow up and be online with all immigration news. So it's Lebanese Migration Center. And if you have any question in mind, you can contact me also through this web page, and I hope that we will be in touch. And thank you.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to listen to you every year. Thank you very much.
Lebanese for the Maronite Academy.
Thank you.
Thank you.